Millionaires are being made all season long at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site. One-week fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Got a player who's hurt? No problem. Injuries won't derail your shot at victory because it's like a new season every week, so you're never stuck with the same players. Pick your team in minutes, and you could be on your way to winning huge cash. This season, one listener turned $10 into $5,000. Another turned $2 into $10,000, and a new millionaire has been crowned nearly every week this season at DraftKings.com. You could be next. Imagine winning... Oh, boy. Imagine winning $1 million in one day just playing fantasy football at DraftKings. Head to DraftKings.com now and use promo code Spreaker to play free in the $10 million Fantasy Football World Championships. DraftKings.com. Bigger events, bigger winnings, bigger millionaires. Enter Spreaker now at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
'87 Sports Fans Live. Keith Grieve from 87sportsfans.com. Heading into segment number 2. In approximately 27 minutes, Jim Saranteas from thefantasygreek.com will join us as always for the NFL Hour. But now I have a very special treat for you all. An unplanned visit from one warrior. Sir, how are you?
Good evening, good afternoon, good night, depending upon whether or not you're listening to the Warrior Live or Warrior on Demand at Late Night Sports Radio. Simply a pleasure for the Warrior to make an appearance. I like to do this every now and then. It'd be kind of like Bill Clinton showing up at a McDonald's. You know, it's good for business for the day.
I keep checking under the table for interns. So what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
Well, the Warrior wanted to talk, obviously, about the Golden State Warriors. Great start to the season. You look at their record now, 17 or 18 and 2, and even the game they lost against Phoenix was because of a late collapse. You look at sort of the strength of the organization. You look at the fact what a great move it was getting rid of Mark Jackson, who didn't like to have Andrew Bogut in at the end of the games. And people can say Jackson did what he did last year, but if the Warriors win 3 more regular season games, they have that Game 7 with Bogut hurt or not. That Game 7 last year against the Clippers is in Oracle, and it's a totally different story. So, like the move, like some of the things that they've done, the pickup, the fact that Lee's been out all season long, Draymond Green's been playing strong, the bench is looking good, the pickup of Sean Livingston has been an awesome pickup. This team last year, when they went to their bench and Jackson played them far too long, was weak. Now you look at it from top to bottom, they can compete. It's not just who they're starting, but their bench is the best in the NBA right now.
You look at, they have 14 players listed as having logged time this season, which is not nothing. You can't. It's not the Bible or anything like that. But obviously, he's not holding back on giving minutes to people.
No, and even some of the guys that haven't got into the rotation, like Brandon Rush, is they don't have two guys at the end, as I used to always like to say, TWS at the end of the bench, two white stiffs. What they have is they have guys at the end of the bench that can play. Brandon Rush was very important to that team a couple of seasons ago. Then he was injured. They were able to finally, after 2 seasons, replace Jared Jack with Livingston, who's at one point was going to be an elite NBA guard before he got hurt. Barbosa's came in from overseas and played well in spurts. Harrison Barnes, who looked absolutely lost last year under Mark Jackson, has played well. Iguodala, who was NBA All-First Team defense last year, on defense, is now coming off the bench. So you look at that roster, top to bottom. You look at that coaching staff, how the depth on the coaching staff, the number of years, the guys who used to be head coaches on that staff. I don't see this team coming back to earth because they are where they should be if you look at that roster.
And you made a good point about Barnes. Now, in his role, he's shooting over 50% from the floor. So whatever magic potion he's drank this year, You got to tip your cap to Kerr. But in the Western Conference, in a loaded Western Conference, they don't seem to have any real weak spots. Is there anything that you think that they could get better at to get ready for playoff battles?
Obviously, with the turnover situation, but they're passing the ball on an average of 51.3 times more per game than they were last year. Anytime it would look as if the number of passes that they make, sometimes they're a little bit too unselfish. They don't always get Bogut the ball in the right spot, but he does like having the ball up high. They just need to learn how to put teams away. A lot of times they have taken a quarter or 4 or 5 minutes off, but unlike last year, Steve Kerr will call timeout and fix the situation. But what the thing they're going to have the hardest time adjusting to is what are they going to do with minutes? How's their rotation going to work when David Lee comes in? Draymond Green has played absolutely amazing. He's the heart and soul of the Warriors. Azili, who missed almost 2 seasons missed them all last year with injuries, hasn't played too much this year. And I think Sprates, still can't pronounce his name after 2 seasons, has been amazing off the bench. I thought they'd missed Jermaine O'Neal and that leadership that he brought last year, but I don't see any holes in this team other than the turnovers, and a lot of that has to do with Curry because he does like to get rid of the ball quick. He's got the quickest shot in the NBA. Sometimes when you're as fast as he is, he'll make a move and lose the ball because he thinks he can beat anybody. Almost the Brett Favre type syndrome where he sees that pinhole of an opening and he thinks he can make the pass. But you know what? You give me Thompson and Clay and Livingston off the bench, I'll take the turnovers.
I really think that the X factor is Andrew Bogut. If he can stay healthy.
You know what? I agree with you there. He was injured last year. Jackson took him out of the game. He wasn't playing meaningful minutes at the end. They'd take him out and rest him in the third and fourth period because they were afraid he was going to get fouled. But the way that the team and the organization has looked at this is that he will prevent more points from scoring than he will missing points because of his inability to shoot free throws.
Right. He's just got to be on the floor. You know, he's had that issue throughout his career, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe being able to make it through an 82-game season.
Well, he has that last year, and last year, they can question his toughness, but this guy had a broken rib in such a spot if he would have got hit, it could have punctured his lung. Now, there's been other injuries where he got hit, which we would call just getting denutted, and the guy was out with a upper contusion, So you can question his toughness. I don't know the severity of the injuries, but given his rest and played well at times when the rested at times when the Warriors are in the midst of a blowout early in the season, could bode well for the end of the season when they need him in the playoffs. All right. Well, that's it. The Warriors appreciates the time on your show. You can follow me at Warrior Sports, legendary sports radio icon, the Warrior. I like to take shots at the media. I've been banned more than I've been banned more than the Bible, more hated than Jesus. But if you think of the 3 great leaders in the world who've been hated and misunderstood, it's Jesus, Terrell Owens, and the Warrior. And the Warrior appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, Warrior. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. The authority, the Warrior. He's based in Texas, but he's an A's fan and a Golden State Warrior fan. Heart is obviously in Southern California. The Warriors pose a really unique problem for teams because of their shooting. And if Bogut can stay healthy and stay on the court and be that post presence, both offensively and defensively, and the Warrior made a very good point. His defensive presence is way more important than anything he can contribute offensively, or even, as he said, from the free throw line. But you can't collapse because they shoot the ball so well, and they shoot the ball from three-point land so well. So you really have to defend them honestly, straight up, And if Bogut contributes anything more than at an average pace out of the center position in a 7-game series, when it all comes down to matchups in the playoffs, the Golden State Warriors should, capital S, should be a very tough out in the NBA playoffs. All right, let's switch gears and head over to the Diamond. The winter meetings are happening right now in San Diego, California. And the big question mark, the big cloud hanging over everything is, where is John Lester going to end up? John Lester, the former Red Sox pitcher who was traded for Yoenis Cespedes. Let me just say something. This kind of junk, and I'll call it junk, where a team can trade away a player only to have him return in free agency. It was really bad in the NBA. They've tried to deal with it a little bit because it would happen within weeks. But I think maybe this is me just being over emotional again. 585-633-7487. 585-633-7487. Maybe I'm being over emotional, and this is my gut reaction here. But I think there has to be some kind of rule to prevent players that are traded away from returning to the team that traded them away. Something stinks about it. And the Red Sox aren't even the front runners, reportedly. Buster Olney was just on ESPN talking about how the Dodgers and the Cubs are the front runners now. And the Giants are in there too. It's a big mess. And he's supposed to supposedly make his decision known tomorrow. Whoopee. Yay. He's going to let the world know where he wants to go. But is he worth it? I mean, is one guy worth all of this? He's going to be 31 by the time the season rolls around. And just looking at what he did, he was 10-7 for Boston, 6-4 for Oakland. And let's not forget, folks, that the A's problem, one of the problems down the stretch when they were fading, was the fact that they stopped getting effective pitching. Even the guys that were lights out early on, like Sonny Gray, they weren't as lights out. Everyone took a step down. The middle of the road guys that were pitching out of their minds came back down to those middle of the road guys. And you have Lester, 6-4, 2.35 ERA, a WHIP just north of 1. So, how much you want to say is Lester? How much is